I found out my wife was cheating on me because she tried to delete one text too fast. That's not a metaphor. That's not some dramatic exaggeration. I mean, literally, her thumb slipped for half a second, and in that half second, I saw a name flash on her phone that wasn't supposed to exist. A name I had never seen before. A name that, without knowing it, was about to rip my entire life in half. The name was Evan, not her sister, not a coworker, not someone I recognized, just Evan. And I would have ignored it like people ignore little red flags every day, if not for the way she reacted. She didn't just close the app. She snatched the phone away like it had burned her. Her face changed. Her eyes went wide. And in that moment, before she could put the smile back on, I saw fear. Real fear. The kind of fear people get when they're caught. I remember the exact smell of the kitchen that night. Garlic from the pasta she had just cooked. A hint of lemon from the cleaner she used on the counters. The sound of the dishwasher humming in the background. Everything was normal. Too normal. That's what made it feel so wrong. Who was that? I asked casually, like I didn't care. She didn't answer right away. That pause, maybe 2 seconds. Maybe 3 felt like it stretched into a minute. Just a client, she said. Work stuff. My wife, Lauren, was a freelance interior designer. She had clients texting her at all hours sometimes. That part made sense, but her voice didn't. It was too high, too quick. Like she'd rehearsed it, and something in me shifted. You know that feeling when you suddenly realize you're standing on thin ice? When everything looks solid, but you know one wrong step and you're going under? That's what it felt like. I nodded, pretended to believe her, finished my dinner, kissed her on the cheek, went to bed like everything was fine, but nothing was fine, because once you see that look in someone's eyes, you can't unsee it. I didn't confront her. Not that night, not the next day. I did what I've always done when something doesn't make sense. I watched. I listened. I'd paid attention. We'd been married for 12 years. 12 years of shared routines. Morning coffee. Saturday grocery runs. Sunday Netflix binges. You get to know a person's patterns. You know when something's off. And things were off. Lauren started guarding her phone like it was a secret diary. She'd tilt the screen away from me. She'd take it into the bathroom. She'd smile at it in a way she hadn't smiled at me in a long time. She started working late more often. Going out with clients. Wearing clothes she hadn't worn in years. Perfume to the grocery store. Lipstick for quick errands. Every man knows what that means, even if he doesn't want to admit it. But the worst part wasn't the suspicion. The worst part was that she was still acting loving, still kissing me goodnight, still asking about my day, still laughing at my dumb jokes. It felt like she was living 2 lives, and I was only allowed to see one of them. I live in a small town outside Phoenix, Arizona. Not some big city where people disappear into crowds. This is the kind of place where you recognize faces at the gas station, where secrets don't stay buried for long, which makes what she did even more insane. One Friday afternoon, she said she was going to meet a client at a hotel downtown. A staging consultation, she called it. She wore a tight black dress I hadn't seen in years and heels she usually saved for weddings. Don't wait up, she said with a smile. I watched her drive away from the kitchen window. That's when I did something I never thought I'd do. I followed her. I waited about 10 minutes, then grabbed my keys and drove after her. I told myself I was just being paranoid, that I'd see her go into some boring office building and feel stupid for doubting her. But she didn't go to any office. She went to the Grand Palms Hotel. I parked across the street and watched as she walked inside, confident, relaxed, like she'd been there before. Like it was familiar. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I waited. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. 15. Then a man walked in, tall, dark hair, expensive jacket. He didn't hesitate. He went straight inside like he knew exactly where he was going. Something inside me said, that's him. Evan. I don't know how long I sat there in that car. My hands were shaking. My mind was racing through 1,000 possibilities. Maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe he was just another guest. Maybe I was losing my mind. But deep down, I already knew. I drove home. That night, Lauren came back late. Her hair was slightly messy. Her lipstick was gone. Her smile was different. "How was your meeting?" I asked. "Good," she said. "Long, exhausting." She didn't look me in the eyes. I lay awake next to her in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe. Every inhale sounded like a lie, and that's when I made a decision. If she was going to lie to me, I was going to let her, because the truth always comes out. You just have to be patient enough to let people expose themselves. I started checking our bank statements. We had a joint account for household expenses. Rent, groceries, utilities. Everything normal couples shared. At first, I didn't see anything unusual. Then I noticed small things. A charge for a restaurant we never went to. A boutique I'd never heard of. A hotel deposit that didn't match any trip we'd taken. At first, they were small, easy to miss. $50 here, 100 there. But when I added them up over a few months, it was thousands. She wasn't just cheating, she was funding it with our money. One night while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. A message lit up the screen from Evan. "I miss you already." I didn't open it. I didn't need to. That was all the proof I needed. My wife was in love with another man, and she was bringing that love into our home, into our bed, into the life we built together. I felt sick, but I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I didn't wake her up and demand answers. I smiled when she came out of the bathroom. I kissed her. I told her I loved her. And inside, something in me went very, very cold. Because if she thought she was playing me, she had no idea who she was dealing with. Asterisk the next morning, Lauren woke up cheerful. Too cheerful. She made coffee, kissed my cheek, and asked if I wanted eggs. It was like she was trying to wash away the guilt with routine. Like if she acted normal enough, everything would stay normal. I played along, but inside I was already moving. I started by setting up something simple. A small lie to test her honesty. I told her I had an emergency job out of town on Thursday. A big commercial HVAC repair in Tucson that would keep me gone overnight. She barely reacted. "Okay," she said. Be safe. Not even fake disappointment. Not even the courtesy of pretending she'd miss me. That told me everything. On Thursday morning, I left like I always did, toolbox in the truck, coffee in hand. I drove for about 10 minutes, then pulled into a gas station and waited. An hour later, Lauren left the house wearing that same black dress. I followed her again. Same route. Same hotel. The Grand Palms. This time, I didn't just sit in the car. I walked inside. The lobby smelled like air freshener and money. Marble floors, soft piano music. People pretending to be important. I stayed far enough back that she didn't see me. She walked confidently toward the elevators. Then Evan showed up. He smiled when he saw her. She smiled back. They hugged. Not the kind of hug you give a coworker. The kind you give someone you've been waiting to touch. They went up together. I stood there like an idiot, staring at the elevator doors after they closed. My heart beating so hard it hurt. That was the moment something broke inside me. Not just my trust. My patience. I went back to my truck and sat there for a long time, staring at nothing. I thought about storming upstairs. I thought about throwing fists. I thought about screaming, but then I remembered something my father used to say. Don't get mad. Get smart. So I got smart. I started documenting everything. Times, dates, hotel receipts, bank charges, photos of them together, because I knew one thing for sure. When this exploded the truth would matter. A week later, Lauren did something careless. She connected her laptop to our home Wi-Fi while I was logged into the router admin panel. That gave me access to every device on the network. Every website. Every message sent. That's when I saw it. She wasn't just meeting Evan. She was planning to leave me. There were emails about apartments, about selling our house, About how she'd get her share. Our share. The home I paid for. The business I built. The savings I worked for. She was already dividing it up with him like I was dead. That was when I realized this wasn't just cheating. It was a setup. And I was the target. I started sleeping less after that. Not because I was sad. Not because I was crying into my pillow like people expect. I slept less because my brain wouldn't shut off. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw pieces of my life rearranging themselves. Without me in them, my house, my money, my wife, all being quietly transferred to someone else while I was still breathing. Lauren didn't notice. Or maybe she didn't care. She started being kinder, actually. More affectionate. Cooking my favorite meals. Touching my arm when she talked. At first, it confused me. Then I realized what it was. Guilt management. People who are lying don't pull away. They overcompensate. One night while we were sitting on the couch watching some stupid reality show, she leaned her head on my shoulder and said, "You know I love you, right?" Out of nowhere. I almost laughed. Instead, I said, "Of course." She smiled, like she'd just checked something off a list. That same night, after she fell asleep, I went back to the emails. I read everything slowly this time, carefully, like evidence in a trial. Evan wasn't just some fling. He knew about me, knew about the house, knew about my business, and he wasn't uncomfortable with it. He was encouraging it. One message stuck with me. He's stable. That's good. Makes things easier. Easier. That word stayed in my head for days. I started thinking about how long this had been going on. I traced the hotel charges back, 6 months, at least. Probably longer. 6 months of lying to my face. 6 months of sharing my bed after sharing someone else's. 6 months of planning my exit like a business transaction. That's when anger finally showed up, not explosive anger. Not shouting anger. Cold anger. The kind that doesn't rush. The kind that waits. I knew if I confronted her, she'd cry. She'd deny. She'd twist the story. Maybe she'd even turn it around on me. Say I wasn't present enough. That I worked too much. That she was lonely. I wasn't going to give her that chance. Instead, I called a lawyer. Not a divorce lawyer. Not yet. A financial attorney. I told him I wanted to understand how to protect my business if my marriage fell apart. I didn't mention cheating. I didn't mention names. I just said I wanted to be prepared. He asked me a lot of questions. About assets, accounts, ownership. And then he said something that made my stomach drop. Is your wife listed as a beneficiary? On anything related to the business? She was. Not ownership. But beneficiary. If something happened to me, Lauren would get everything. The business. The house. The accounts. Everything Evan was counting on. That's when it hit me. They weren't just planning a breakup. They were planning a takeover. I didn't think Lauren would ever hurt me physically. But financially? Legally? Quietly? Absolutely. So I made my next move. I told Lauren I was thinking about restructuring the business. She acted interested. Asked questions. Too many questions. How long would it take? Would it change our income? Is it risky? I told her it was just paperwork. Nothing major. She nodded. Smiled. Told me she trusted me. The irony almost made me sick. Over the next few weeks, I changed everything. I moved accounts. I created a trust. I separated assets. Quietly, legally, cleanly, nothing illegal. Nothing shady. Just smart. Lauren never noticed. Or if she did, she didn't understand what she was seeing. She was too busy with Evan. One night, she said she was going to visit her sister in Tempe. I knew she was lying before she finished the sentence. I waited an hour, then checked the location. History on the car. She was at Evan's apartment. I didn't follow her this time. I stayed home and made a decision. I was done being reactive. It was time to let them make a mistake. And they did. Big one. It happened on a Tuesday. Lauren came home. Excited. Nervous. Trying not to show it. We should talk, she said. I nodded. Sat at the kitchen table. Let her lead. She told me she was unhappy. that she felt disconnected, that she needed space. Classic script. I think we should separate for a while, she said. Just to figure things out. I acted surprised, hurt, confused. I asked if there was someone else. She said no. Without blinking, I agreed to the separation. Told her I wanted what was best for her. That night, she packed a bag and left. She didn't even look back. The next morning, I got an email from Evan. Not by accident, on purpose. I know this is weird, he wrote, but I think it's better if we're honest. Lauren told me you're separating. I just want you to know I care about her. I stared at the screen for a long time. He thought the game was over. He thought he'd won. So I replied. Politely. Calmly. I told him I appreciated his honesty. That I just wanted Lauren to be happy. That I had no hard feelings. I even wished them luck. And in that moment, both of them believed I was weak. That was their final mistake. Asterisk. Once Lauren moved out, everything changed. Not for her. For me, the house felt quieter, but my mind felt clearer. For the first time in months, I wasn't pretending. I wasn't walking on emotional glass. I wasn't wondering where she was or who she was with. I already knew she was with Evan and she thought she was winning. They moved fast. Faster than I expected. Within 2 weeks, she was staying at his place full-time. Within a month, she filed for divorce. Not a slow, careful divorce. A greedy one. She wanted half the house. Half the savings. Half of everything tied to my business. Her lawyer sent over a long list of demands. The tone wasn't sad. It wasn't regretful. It was aggressive. Like she was collecting a debt. Evan had coached her. I could tell. They underestimated. One thing, I wasn't emotional anymore. I was prepared. When my lawyer responded, we didn't argue about feelings. We argued about numbers, documents, ownership. Lauren's face the day she realized something was wrong is something I'll never forget. She was sitting across from me in a conference room, Evan next to her, acting like he belonged there. She looked confident, relaxed. Until my lawyer slid the papers across the table. Mr. Mercer no longer owns those assets personally, he said. They are held in a protected trust. Lauren frowned. What does that mean? It meant everything. The house? In the trust. The business. In the trust. The majority of the savings? In the trust, she wasn't entitled to them. Not legally. Her lawyer started flipping through pages. Suddenly very interested. Evan stopped smiling. Lauren looked at me like she'd just seen me for the first time. You did this? She whispered. I just looked back at her. She had planned to walk away with half my life. Instead, she walked away with almost nothing. The rage that came out of her then was real. No acting, no pretending. She accused me of hiding money, of manipulating the system, of betraying her. I almost laughed. The irony was too perfect. They tried to fight it. Tried to claim fraud. Tried to pressure me. But everything I did was legal. Clean, documented. In the end, Lauren got a small cash settlement and her personal belongings. No house, no business, no future funded by me. Evan didn't get anything at all. And that's when their relationship started to crack. Because when there's no reward left, love gets tested. A few weeks later, Lauren called me. Crying. She said Evan had changed. That he was distant. That things weren't what she thought they'd be. I listened. Didn't say much. She asked if we could talk in person. I said no. That was the last time she ever called. Evan left her not long after. Turns out he wasn't interested in a woman without access to someone else's money. Funny how that works. Now I live in the same house. I run the same business. My life looks almost exactly the same on the outside, but I'm not the same person because once you see how easily someone can betray you, you never forget. And that's the truth they never wanted me to know.